Right, this is the first video on how to install the Flowtricks Nunchaku database. So what you're going to do is you're going to download it. I'm going to give a link. So I'm going to assume you've already downloaded it from the link. It'll be a Dropbox link. And you'll see this zipped file. Now, a zip file is just a file that contains a lot of files. So what you can do is right-click on it and go to Extract All. Any Windows device should be able to extract all unless you have a really old version of Windows, of which this program might not work. But if it does, you can also download something called 7-Zip. 7-Zip's also another way. It's a freeware software that you can download if you don't have it natively built in. When you go to Extract All, it'll ask you where you want to save it. Just click on Extract. Basically, you're just pulling out all the files out of this zip file. Once it's completely pulled out, you can delete the zip file. But first I would verify that this exists in here. But when you're done with this, you see the zip file. It's 500 megabytes. You can just delete this and go to OK. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to open up the file that was so we're going to double click and it opens up a new window here. And there's two things. There's a folder and there's something called Touch Designer. What we're going to do is we're going to first install Touch Designer. So we double click on this. Touch Designer is a software that runs the program that I make. So basically, I'm not a programmer, but this is how I know how to program, is through this program. So you have to install this first, and this is why it's such a big download. But Touch Designer does a lot of things. You just have to take a couple years to do it. So what you're going to do is you're just going to accept the agreement, and then it'll say it's preparing to install, and it'll go through the installation. I'm getting an error because I already installed this software, so it's probably just wondering why I'm trying to install it while it's already there. So you're just going to wait for this to get done. And then what you're going to do is, quite simply, when Touch Designer is installed, all you need to do after this is just create a shortcut. So it's going to take a minute here. Just waiting for that loading screen. This could take a little bit longer. I have a pretty fast computer. Oh yeah, but it's installing from a slow hard drive, so there you go. We can talk about live. Okay, so when this is done, it's ready to go, but you may want to move this folder. Okay, we'll uncheck Launch Touch Designer. We don't need to launch it right now. We'll just go to Finished. This is the actual meat and bones, is right here. Once this is installed, you can also delete this because the file's already been uploaded into your computer. All that's left is this folder where you're going to drag where you find it's important. So you can just click on it and drag it out to your desktop, or drag it out to this or that, or keep it there. But basically, if you double click on it, you'll see a program that says Flowtricks. As long as Touch Designer is installed, you'll see that it's this really cool icon, and that's perfect. If you want to keep it in that folder, but you want to throw it on your desktop, you can also click on it with your right mouse button, drag it out like this, and when you let go to Create Shortcut here. And what that'll do is that'll just create a shortcut. This doesn't actually move the program out. You see that? It's just an arrow that points directly to here, so you don't have to be in this specific window, which is this PC desktop temp DB. It's this really long one. This one's just a very quick shortcut. So that's how to make a quick shortcut to the file. So I can either double click on this or double click on this. It does the same thing. We'll just go ahead and double click on it. And because I have a dual screen, it's going to open it on the wrong screen. So just give me a second and I'll drag over the screen. I'll drag the screen over in just a second here. It's loading the Flowtricks file right now. And provided everything works well, what you're going to see is this. This is what it looks like. This is the beta version of it. And you're going to notice it looks a little bit differently. Now, the very first thing that you want to do before you do anything is to log into the Flowtricks website. You see this Flowtricks website. You're just going to click on the person in the upper left corner, and you're going to log into it. Now, here's the thing. If you are not already on here, you may want to just use Firefox or Chrome or whatever your browser is and make an account first. So I'm just going to use LaserCat for now, and I'm going to go to Login. Now, here's the thing. Again, especially if you're a Patreon donor, you may not have the full access to this yet. So once I'm logged in, you'll see my little icon in the upper right corner. That's how I know I'm here, because that's my LaserCat icon. If you don't have full access to this, there's always going to be, I'm going to move this out of the way for a second. If you don't have access to the flowtricks.net website, make sure you go on patreon.com. Every month I'm going to supply codes that will give you full access to the website. There's no easy way to do it for Patreon donors, unfortunately. But I'll post once a month, and it'll give you a code on how to get full access. The code right now is going to be, let's just grab it real quick and I'll show you how it works here. Here's the monthly code right here. So this says, be sure to make an account on flowtricks.net. Then you go to the exclusive, right? And then it says choose Patreon donor. We can actually do this right now. Let's just say I don't have access right now. I'm going to scroll down here, and it's very simple. You choose Patreon donor, which is going to say $999 a month. And obviously, it's not going to be $999. It's free. But I just choose that just because that's just a dummy variable. And then you use the code, and this one says Ninja Rule, NINJARULE. So then we look for the coupon code right here and just type Ninja Rule. Ninja Rule. Now this will change every month, of course. And then you click on Apply right there. You see it says valid 100%. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to scroll down to the very bottom. And there's one more important thing, which this says PayPal or manual payment. If you move it to PayPal, it will make an error. Just make sure it's manual payment. PayPal will take you to the PayPal link. Now it defaults to manual payment, so you're fine. Just go ahead and click on register. Boom. And you're done. That will give you access for a month. So again, once a month, it's just 3 things. You click on the Patreon, you type in the code, and then you just make sure it says manual, and then you're good. Now this is fully. How do you use this thing? It's very simple. This is your master list of moves. So there's the X catch, there's a reverse rebound, there's a behind the back 360. As you click on these, you'll look to the left and you'll see that these are just the categorized that these moves are listed under. Now, this was done by a team of people that took weeks and weeks to build, because this is a lot. I mean, like I said, there's over 600 entries. And not all of these are accurate. So if there's an issue, I'm going to create a button eventually where we can report it and update it so we can get all of these moves synced. But right now, it's still pretty good. Like I said, there's a lot to these moves, and as people go through it and sift through it, I'm sure we could get it even better. So basically, you left click to choose your move to the left, okay? You notice the right hasn't changed yet. That's because if you right click, it changes the move, but it also updates the website. So why would you have that? Because there's going to be a lot of moves that you already know. So even though this says the X catch, you know how to rip. So you might just click on Riptides and go 5. I've mastered this technique. And then X catch. Oh, I know how to X catch. I've mastered this technique. So what you can do, instead of having to reload the web page every time, only right click if you need to see the video. Left click otherwise. When you left click, you're going to notice whatever is highlighted, whatever you're editing is going to be on the top. No matter what's displaying over here, these can be different. You see this says X catch, this says Riptides. You're editing the Riptide notes. So keep that in mind, that you could have a different video on the right as opposed to the left. So Riptides, if you see these numbers, this is your skill rating. And the cool thing now is you can see it here. It'll explain what these numbers mean. I can do this in combos without thinking about it, or I struggle with this technique. And these are your notes. These are notes that you write for yourself to help you with this. So with rips, maybe say, roll over right hand, just things that you notice about it. Now here's that about your technique that will help you to remember how to do a Riptide right, or even ideas you have to improve it. Now, it's very important when you do your training notes, you notice it's not updated down here yet. Click anywhere outside of the training notes. I'm going to click on this black area. Boom. Do you see how it updated? So there it is. So as you see, as I type there it is, it doesn't appear there yet because it has to write to an external file. So to do so, you just click anywhere. There it is. That also means if you type a bunch of notes, blah, 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 but you don't click outside of here and you're like, oh, okay, I'm done, and you click on the X, it doesn't commit. So just get used to whenever you're done with notes, click anywhere except for the big X in the upper right corner, and it'll commit the notes. It's that simple. I mean, just don't click on the X until you've committed the training notes. Okay, so let's say you loaded the X catch, right? And then you want to play the video. So I'm going to tell you this right now. There's a bug in there's a bug in this where it's going to be very freezy. That's simply because you need to put this in full screen and it'll be fine. So make sure that when you play these videos, not like you want to watch it from this little tiny screen anyways, just go to full screen and it'll be fine. I'm not really going to work on trying to fix a small little window. So don't worry about it. Let's say this is too small for you. As it's playing, oh man, this is too small. Go to full screen over here, click on that, and you'll see it completely full screen. Click on full screen again and you're back to taking your notes and whatever you need to do. Notes. Remember, once you click outside of it, boom, it's committed. It's that simple. Now let's just say, because I have no idea what your computers are going to do, let's just say that it's just chugging, it's really slow, it's not working well at all. There's a button in here called external browser, and all it does is it launches this website over onto an external browser. Now Firefox is my default one, so I'm just going to click on external browser, and what you'll see is it automatically launches that same technique over on there. So you, in some instances, especially if you're having browser issues but everything else is working, you can just go over here and watch the video and do it on the web page, and then go back and edit your notes and just use this as a note-taking tool without having to do that. Again, that's a big reason why the left click has a lot of uses, even though it doesn't bring it up. And the right click is good if everything's working right and you just want to just right click like right now, and it'll eventually bring it up. Another thing to note, remember, these are sorted by 50 entries at a time. This is because there's over 600 entries, and we're going to have more in the future. And if it loads all 600, it freezes things. It makes things slow and sluggish. So it loads 50 at a time, so that'll be helpful too. Outside of that, the only thing left is the very top part. This is going to be the filters, and I'm going to give you some tips for this. Now, it's very simple, so I'm only going to go through this slowly. It's an and kind of thing. So give me nunchucks and give me newbie nunchuck moves. These are all the newbie nunchuck moves. Give me newbie nunchuck moves that have catches in them. So these are three things. These are all the newbie nunchuck moves that have catches on them. Give me newbie nunchuck moves that have catches and combos. There they are. They have to have all the criteria. So whenever you click on here, you can even see over here on the left, this explains all the different types of techniques and tricks in here. You'll notice that all of them are in there. You'll also notice these are red. This means that a filter is on. If they're just gray, a filter's off. So if you're not seeing everything, if there's only 2 pages, look for what's red and just unclick it, and you should be good. Now there's only 2 more things I want to show, and then we're done. This is the skill level. This is the most important, I believe, one of the most important, because what's most important is how good are you with these moves, because that's how we want to sort them. So if you click on here, you go to all skills, it's all 600 or whatever the entries are. Skills I know is really important. Click on that one. This will show you all the skills you know. I may have a better sorting method soon because they're in no particular order right now, but you can see these are all the skills that you've rated. So as long as there's a rating on these skills, it will work. Now here's something interesting. Like if I take Riptides, for instance, it's got skill level 1 and I move it to a 0, boom, Riptides disappears. The reason for that is because a 0 means you haven't visited yet. So keep that in mind as well. If you click on the 0, if you're in a filter and it seems to disappear, it's probably because you've changed it to where it fell outside of the filter. Next, we go to skills I don't know. Skills I don't know is a great way to find, well, the skills you don't know. There's 14 pages of it right now. And all it means is these are skills you haven't rated yet. So even if you're just going through these, you can give them quick ratings if you know what they are. And if you don't, great. You know, this is what it's there for. Also, really quick, under skills that you know, you can also just keep in mind that you can use this as a visual way to see what you need to work on and what you don't. An easier way to do that is to go through this number system though too. For instance, number 1, I can do this sometimes is what a number 1 is. These are going to be all the skills that you marked with the 1, which means you struggle with these techniques. So these are going to be techniques you're going to want to use well. Or how about this? I can do it consciously in flow, but not quite without thinking. So depending on what your strategy is, this is going to be techniques you need to work on. These are going to be techniques that you want to put in flow. Just look at the one below it and say, okay, how do I get this technique to the next one? So if we're on number 2, for instance, where it says, well, I don't have any, I can do it most times, then anything listed in here are going to be moves that you're going to want to put into flow. So all you got to do is just look at the next one down and it makes sense. So if all the moves that you can do in flow, you want to be able to do in flow without thinking about it, which is number 4. So we're basically looking at all the number 3s and moving just to number 4. Now I haven't obviously edited too many of these. And then 5, you've mastered it. What would you do with these? Maybe look at these techniques and figure out ways to innovate it, put in your notes how you can make it better, etc., etc. Also, another thing to keep in mind, because you're going to notice a lot of typos, and again, it's because the people that edited it just typed it. They just typed it how they typed it, you know? So you can double click on it to change it. So, and then you can just type whatever you want, and then if you hit OK, it will do it. So this is how to clutch. Just say clutches. boom, and then click on OK, and it'll change it to clutches. So that's really important to note. Lastly, well, hide exclusives will just show, I'm going to turn this filter off. Hide exclusives will just show what you can access if you're not logged into the website. So all non-exclusive videos are there. Most videos are exclusive because anything where the team of people that worked on it for a month or two worked on those, all categorizing those videos, those are all considered exclusive videos. You can of course find them even if you're not on Patreon or whatever. You can still find them on the YouTube channel, but the whole thing is like they made it really easy to find these things. So those are exclusive videos, great for people that are supporting the channel. The last thing I want to talk about, and this is one of the most powerful, is search name and notes. Now you notice that you can search, like you can look for anti-spins here, but another way that you can look for anti-spins is just type anti-spin here. Now here's the thing, if there's no anti-spin in the name of the title or in your notes, it won't appear here. So you may miss some stuff, but another thing is, like an easy way to find live streams, just type live and you will see the live streams. Boom, there's tons of them. These are hard to categorize. Live streams are hard to categorize because we cover so much stuff. So just type in live. Here's another thing that's really cool. Let's say, for instance, we go to presence with the back grip, and you're typing, you know, like ideas for presence with the back grip, and you're like, you know, I really want to remember this. You can create your own codes in the notes that you can use as a filtering system. For instance, maybe so on a piece of paper, write down what the notes mean. For instance, I might use ~REM for remember this move. Could be a favorite or whatever, right? So when I have the presence with the back grip and it ends with rem, I know that if I'm going through all this, and this is kind of cool, I've done this before already. If you go to search name and notes and I do ~REM, when I hit enter, all of the techniques that I used rem on there will appear because it was found in the notes. This means that you can create your own categorization system without having to click on here to make it yourself. So however you want to do this, whether it's you want to make your favorite notes or you want to categorize it in your own way, but it's not quite fitting any of these categories, you can do it all that you want. So in the future, there's going to be a lot of things I'd like to change, but that's a basic premise of it for now. You know, keep in mind we're in beta, so there's going to be probably bugs, there's going to be some issues. Just keep in contact with me, please, because I would love this. This to me is awesome, and I can't wait for it to evolve, and I hope it really works for everyone. In the future, there's going to be a few things that I really want to do. A big one is I want to get this database updated to where it really works. Like, not all of these are categories, right? So I'm going to have a button where when people are going through it, if they notice there's something wrong or a typo or an error, or some of these are just typed incorrect, there's some misspelling in some of them, there'll be a submit button where you can submit changes, and then I'll be able to manually get it changed around the clock. I'm also working on a way to push from the website an update to all these moves, so as new techniques come in and things, it will automatically update without you having to download anything. Another thing I'm working on is, well, eventually what we want to have is also you can add your own videos, add your own YouTube videos, add any instructor you want. That's a little bit later down the line though. And then lastly, the ability for people that did a lot of work on their database to share it with other people, especially when you can start creating your own videos. It's going to be really fantastic for us to all stay connected, so that way our work works together and this database just gets bigger and better and more efficient. So that's the hope, that's the goal. Regardless, it's a lofty goal, but even as it stands right now, I think that this is really highly efficient. This has been years in the making. This website was 2 years in the making, and then it just kind of died out. But I feel like it was too complicated to figure out where everything is. I feel like this makes things a lot easier. So I hope this works. I hope this helps. And thank you all again. You know, I just appreciate you guys sticking through me through all these years, and I hope that this becomes a very powerful asset to your tools.